Game Nashville Sports Network, ESPN 94.9, The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Monday, but we're also at the time of the year where you can celebrate a really good Monday where the temperature gets to 81 degrees, and then the next day you're at 62. So we are about to get past that. From Thursday through next Wednesday, every day has temperatures somewhere in the 70s. Before we go anywhere, I want to thank the folks involved with Loretto, Tennessee. I was down there yesterday. I emceed Loretto, their state championship. And the deal is that the coach there is my buddy Mike Rhodes' son-in-law. And so we had a really good time down there. Billy, there's a young guy on that team, Jackson Robinson, that I had a lot of opportunity to kind of mess with. And at one point, part of what they did in the banquet was they showed the title game, which went to overtime. They were 35-0 on the year, but had to go to overtime against Alcoa. Anyway, this young guy hits a bucket in the third quarter and and gets fouled. And, you know, there's a lot of emotion. And so I had him stop the tape. The players, the starting five, were over to my left. And I look over, I said, Jackson, did you tell the Alcoa kids I'm your daddy? And the place erupted. He starts laughing. He goes, no, what I said wasn't as good as what you came up with. So anyway, to the folks down in Loretto, Tennessee, which is south of Lawrenceburg, it's a good little haul down there. I had a blast. Had a good time. Let's check in with Kelly Holcomb, who missed all the fun on Friday. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, George. It's Loretta. They pronounce it Loretta in Loretta.
But you know what? There is an O at the end.
I understand that, but it's Loretta.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down from around there, which I'm close to there, you know, you got Pulaski in between Lincoln County and Lawrenceburg.
What was that?
Yeah, Loretta.
Pulaski? Is that
Pulaski.
Pulaski.
Yeah.
I've never pronounced it like that.
Well, how do you say Pulaski?
Pulaski.
It's not Pulaski.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Pulaski.
Who says Pulaski?
Me. I'm from right there next to it. Now, I'm sure a lot of people call it Pulaski. I'm
Here's
sure you're
another
right,
one.
Billy.
Here's another one I've gotten caught on a couple of times. Okay. For a lot of people, it's Louisville. But when you're there, Louisville.
Here's another one, too. Lafayette, Tennessee. I mean, it's Lafayette. I mean, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Lafayette, Louisiana, Lafayette, Indiana, but it's Lafayette when you get to Tennessee.
This is like Kelly explaining his phonics. I mean, I feel like every word.
I'm country as cornbread, Hoss. It's Loretta. Yeah. I say Pulaski. I will say this, George. Some people do say Pulaski. They do.
I've never heard that.
Fayetteville.
I know. Fayetteville is it's instead of saying Fayetteville, everybody says F-E-D, Fayetteville.
Okay, I'll give you one more.
I'm from Fayetteville.
New Orleans.
Nolans.
Yeah.
That's the way Peyton used to say it all the time. I'm from Nolans. What is that?
Did you get it? Did you get on him?
Oh, absolutely. I got on him all the time.
Did he get tired of it?
Yeah, we had some
moments.
We had some scuffles every now and then. It wasn't scuffle, but it was we did some things to each other that it was all in fun.
Yes, absolutely. So this same kid, the coach had told him to wear Loretta shirts, white shirts with khakis. And he shows up in black pants. And so when they came out there, I said, before we start this, and I knew, because I'd kind of told him I was going to mess with him. I said, Jackson, did you not get the email your coach sent? Of course, everybody in the crowd's laughing. I said, what is this? I said, all the others, it was fun.
Nice.
It was a good time. Okay, so you missed out on all the fun Friday.
I did. I heard about it.
Yeah, I can promise you the next couple of days, we will be knee-deep in Nico. So on Saturday morning, I put a Facebook thing out there. I know a bunch of you don't think I know how to do Facebook, but
including me.
I do. And so what I put out there was, this is what's going on. What's your opinion? Please share your opinion. Well, I have had, let's see here, 137 people with comments.
Mm.
Okay, tomorrow during the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to go through some of those comments because it'll give you a little bit of a feeling of how the general public feels, not just about this case, but the whole stuff in general. And let me also say this. Yeah, right now, everybody is on Tennessee's side. Good for them.
Good.
But I'll also tell you, if they get a quarterback that isn't any good and they go 6-6, watch. Some people will turn.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's all about winning. But this day and age we're in, we talk about it constantly on this show, but I don't know where it goes. I keep asking the same questions because, and we got Watson coming on today. I'm going to ask him some of the same stuff, but I just, as a coach, you were in a no-win situation at this point in your career. You went into college and you got all these older guys who went to kind of mold young men into men, and it was more about football when I went to middle. When I played there, my position coach used to tell me it's more than football. And he was absolutely right. He said, one day you'll go in and you'll thank Coach Donnelly for all the things he did. Now, I got ripped constantly. But, I mean, it made me who I was. It made me who I am today. And I just we've lost our way. And when all this stuff, we have totally lost our way.
My hope is that the judge, Claudia Wilkin, is sitting out there in California going, oh, my God, I have got to help this, because she holds some keys to some of this stuff. But I'll also throw this out here before we go to the update. The settlement that everybody thinks will be the panacea, the players aren't involved in this at all. The schools have apparently come up with a number, but the players have not been invited to the table at all. And I think that's a missing piece to this. But we got a lot more to do. Billy, tell me that you have an update with some level of substance.
This is one of the better updates we've had in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a lot like what Rory McIlroy did yesterday.
Oh my gosh! So it's going to be up and down and all over the place. Is that what we're saying?
Minus the double bogeys and the bogeys. They're late, but it is brought to you by Lori Burnett.
A little roller coaster, didn't he?
You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com or give her a call 615-969-4350. One more thing on Nico Iamaleava. Obviously, we know he's no longer with Tennessee. Josh Heupel told reporters after the spring game that no one is bigger than the program. No one's bigger than the Power T. Heupel said the tipping point came Friday morning when Nico was a no-show for practice amid his contract discussions. Take a listen to what Heupel had to say after the spring game.
I said it to the guys today. There's no one that's bigger than the Power T, and that includes me. And they hear me say that a lot inside of that team room. This program's been around for a long time. with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players that came before that laid the cornerstone pieces, the legacy, the tradition that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm done and after they're gone. And that's what's special about being here is that there is a legacy and a tradition that is so rich and a logo that's recognized not just across the nation but across the world too. And today you got a chance to see 110 guys that ran out and competed their butts off, that give their all for Tennessee and do it the right way, and really proud of the spring that they've had, but also how they culminated it as well.
Notice how he's talking about guys that competed, they gave their all for Tennessee. These guys are rallying. It seems like that's not what Nico and his camp, and everybody points the blame to Nico and his camp. You wonder, does Nico deserve a little bit more blame than he's been getting? And I know he's 20 years old and he's a kid and all that, but
well, he's got a father who appears to be a little bit of a gold digger
and a handler.
Yeah.
Well, they're all trying to make money off him, which is a sad thing. I mean, but like you're a college young man who's trying to find his way. You did some good things last year, but it wasn't overly impressive. Let's be honest. And you're making $2.5 million as a 20-year-old kid. Is that not enough?
I'm just hoping that hopefully this doesn't bother Nico throughout his career. I mean, there's going to come a point where he's going to have to look at his dad or his handler and say, get out of here.
Because it would serve him right now if he ended up in Buffalo as a bull, not a bill.
The Buffalo Bulls?
Buffalo Bull.
So
they draw some nice crowds in November.
Hearing that Tulane is a potential landing spot, maybe North Carolina. I know we'll get into this with Ben McKee coming up, but, these aren't, Texas, Ohio State. These aren't. He may not even go to a high level power force.
This is called overplaying your card.
Yeah. Would you guys? Yeah, y'all just think about this, and I'll let it go because I know we're going to talk about this constantly. But would you guys want somebody to be the leader of your team with such a quarterback? That's the name of being a quarterback. He's the leader of the team. Sorry, that's just the position. But would you want a guy like this leading your team? You got to think about that.
Hell no.
Okay.
No, but I will say this. I think whatever the next school is, if they're smart, they are saying to Nico's dad, stay away.
Yeah.
The less we see of you, the better. Other than game day, we don't want you anywhere near this place.
Yep.
Well, we saw a lot of Rory McIlroy yesterday as he wins the Masters, becoming the 6th golfer to complete the Grand Slam after an 11-year wait for his 5th major victory. He edged out Justin Rose in a playoff to capture his first green jacket. It looked like Rory would cruise to a victory, but bogeyed 11, double bogey on 13, another bogey on 14, and all of a sudden there's a 3-way tie at 10 under, and you got to start watching the Masters again. And it might have taken 73 holes, but he became the first European golfer in history to win the career Grand Slam. I was talking to Kelly earlier today, George. His shot on 15 was incredible. He had to draw it around the trees, get it up over the water, and he didn't end up eagling it. He birdied it, but that's a shot you look back at and say that could be why he won it.
Yeah.
Because
17 was
DeChambeau
good too. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it DeChambeau that hit it in the water?
Yes, he made some crucial mistakes during that, and he normally doesn't do that. I mean, I'm not obviously you guys know I'm not a live guy, but he's a monster on the golf course, can hit it a long way, but he made some crucial mistakes that he normally does not make.
Here's Rory after winning the Masters.
Look, it's a dream come true. I've dreamt about that moment for as long as I can remember. I mentioned it out in the prize ceremony, but watching Tiger here in 1997 do what he did and winning his first green jacket, I think that inspired so many of my generation to want to emulate what he did. And, there were points in my career where I didn't know if I would have this nice garment over my shoulders, but I didn't make it easy today. I certainly didn't make it easy. I was nervous. It was one of the toughest days I've ever had on the golf course. In a funny way.
And those are just some of his comments, but he also said that he felt more relief than anything else, than actual joy after winning the Masters. You can understand why after holding that burden of will he get the Grand Slam?
Because there weren't many more years that he could. What is he, like early 40s?
I think he's 44. Yeah, I think he's 44. But like he showed mental toughness yesterday that I didn't think he had. But like when you start off a golf tournament and you're double bogey and you allow the guys to catch you in one hole, that's pretty tough to come back from. He had 17 more to play, and he started off with a double bogey. So it was just an up and down round to me. And, that shot that he made on that par 5 where he laid up, I think it was 13, then he hit it into Rays Creek. Like, I'm not saying that I'm a professional golfer. There's no question. But I just don't know. Like, you're a professional, and you're 95 yards out, and you just hit it straight right and into the creek. That was tough, and he overcame a bunch.
Well, and you wonder, we talked a lot about it with Lipscomb basketball. If not now, when? Could this have been a year like that for Rory? I
think that contributed down the stretch to the erratic play. Was this may be my last shot? And that might have gotten in his head. Now, that said, he's an easy guy to root for.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's probably one of the more emotional responses to winning the Masters.
Love it.
That was really cool. I mean, I almost got teary-eyed myself.
Yeah. Well, we go to a somber note, really an awful story out of LSU. Former LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacey was found dead Saturday night in Houston. He died in an apparent suicide in his car while being pursued by authorities. They say that when officers approached his vehicle, he had died from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He had been facing criminal charges after being accused of causing a crash that killed a 78-year-old man back on December 17th, and he was expected to be taken on day 2 of the NFL draft.
Awful.
Prayers for his family, everybody around him, that they find peace. Also in the NFL, cornerback Patrick Peterson has retired from the league as a member of the Cardinals. So he's retiring as an Arizona Cardinal, the team that selected him 5th overall back in 2011. I didn't realize this about him. His rookie year, 2011, he was in the Pro Bowl, and he went on to make 7 more Pro Bowls in a row with the Cardinals. Also, of course, played at LSU. So,
Honey Badger.
No, that's actually Tyrann
Which one
Mathieu.
is that? You're right. Sorry.
That's Tyrann Mathieu, yeah.
Well, he could be junior.
Honey Badger Jr.
Yeah.
A couple other NBA notes for the break. The Pelicans have fired Executive Vice President David Griffin, who had spent the past 6 years in this role in New Orleans, obviously after a tough year.
Yeah, that team's going in the toilet.
And also after missing the playoffs and the play-in tournament, so no postseason for the Suns, they are deciding to fire head coach Mike Budenholzer.
They are the toilet.
And for the third time, the third straight offseason, the Suns are going to have a new head coach.
Listen, with the salary cap problems that they've got and the stupid decisions that they have made, you're not going to hear much about the Phoenix Suns for a few years.
Yeah, with the largest payroll in league history.
And having traded a bunch of draft picks. Crazy what they've done.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Okay, after the break, we will get the latest from Knoxville from Ben McKee, who is with GoVols247.com. Watson Brown will join us later in the hour. We got a lot to talk about. This is an explosive issue. You're going to hear it for a long time. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Manufacturing and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators conclude their season with a 2-game homestand starting tonight at 7 against Utah. Radio pregame coverage begins tonight at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So all of you know, this has been the water cooler talk for the last 3 or 4 days in this area, and nationally, it's gotten a lot of play. So I want to say thank you right off the bat to Ben McKee from GoVols247.com. Ben, thank you for taking the time. What have your last 4 days been like?
It's been pretty hectic. I actually was in Oxford over the weekend for Tennessee baseball and Ole Miss, so having to deal, I guess if you want to use that word, with this Nico Iamaleava story on top of some baseball was quite the weekend. It's been a roller coaster, nothing too surprising, but it's been interesting. I guess that's the best word for it.
Ben, ultimately, in your opinion, how big a problem is the father?
I think he is the problem. I think Nico is the face of this situation. But Big Nick, as everybody calls him, Nico's father, and handlers, other family members, however you would like to term them, I do think they're the driving force behind the situation, that they are why the situation has happened. And in the couple of different interviews I have done, I have specifically gone out of my way to mention, like, hey, every time I say Nico and Nico this, Nico that, like, it's not necessarily me saying that Nico is the driving force here. It's everybody involved, and Nico is not blameless at the end of the day. Even though he is a young man, he is still a young adult, and he is complicit, whether it's his fault or not. And I feel for him in that sense, because the father and other people related to the family, involved with the family, they're the driving force behind this. And all of my interactions with Nico were very pleasant. He came off as a nice young man, and I kind of feel for him that he's being portrayed in a negative light. And again, not that he's without blame, but everybody is quick to say his name first, and then it's needed to be reminded that, well, it's the father and others who are involved that are the driving force behind this.
Ben, obviously the whole thing reaches, the point when he doesn't show up for practice on Friday. I have been told that while it wasn't skipping practices kind of stuff, that he had become habitually late for meetings, whatever. Is that true? And if it is true, did Heupel ever send him a warning shot that said, I'm not going to put up with this crap?
I don't know that he was habitually late, but there were issues with him being on time to things. And from my understanding, it was more on the communication side in terms of interviews and places he was supposed to be outside of practice and things of that nature. That from my understanding, was the bigger issue of when he was not punctual. But then there were also some meetings here and there as well. So I am unaware of any type of punishment that was given down by Josh Heupel to try and put an end to it. And I think that is where Nico himself can be blamed a little bit, because even though your father may be the driving force, you are acting as if you are untouchable with some of these actions, even if you aren't the one making the final decision. So there were certainly areas in Nico's approach to his time as a Tennessee football player that he could have been better. And there are things that he'll need to clean up if he wants to end up being a successful quarterback and living up to the potential that he has.
Ben, it's starting to get out that Tennessee got a huge assistance from Oregon and Dan Lanning, who apparently picked up a phone to Heupel or somebody and said, do you know what the hell's going on here? First of all, is there that tight a relationship between Heupel and Lanning? And are you hearing the same thing?
Yes, that did happen from my understanding. I don't know exactly how close the two are. It's not, this past season, Seth Luttrell, the former Oklahoma offensive coordinator, Heupel went up against him in his return to Norman, and they're really, really close. I don't know if it's that level of relationship. I mean, now Luttrell's on staff at Tennessee, on the field, kind of behind the scenes, not in a full-time assistant role, but he's working within the program. Landry Jones, the former Oklahoma quarterbacks in Knoxville now. So I don't know it's that type of relationship, but obviously if Dan Lanning feels comfortable enough to pick up the phone and say, hey, your starting quarterback's father is shopping him around, then either
I think we lost Ben there.
Which is too bad. We were on a roll there.
Yeah, he was getting going.
Were on a roll.
So the last thing okay, he's there. Good. Ben, the last thing before
you heard.
I'm sorry, say that again, if you will.
Would you like for me to pick up where I was?
Yeah, I guess so. I was going to Kelly's sitting there going, anything but George. Go ahead.
What was the last thing you heard? I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
Landry Jones.
Landry Jones. That's right.
Okay. So they have that close of I don't know that it's that close of a relationship with Dan Lanning, but either the relationship is closer than I realize, or Dan Lanning is just that terrific of a person to pick up the phone and give Heupel a call and give him a heads up. And it's probably also this happened before. I don't know exactly when the phone call was made, assuming it was recent. I mean, this is shopping Nico around had kind of happened during the winter months as well, during the playoff run, right after the playoff run. So maybe Dan Lanning, on top of being such a great guy, was also kind of fed up with just how often the family was looking around and doing Josh Heupel, who seems like a great person, kind of doing him a disservice. So I think there were a lot of factors that played into it. But from my understanding, that absolutely did happen.
Okay, Kelly, I've left the obvious question of who's next on the table, so
that's where I'm going.
Have at it. Yes, have at it.
Ben, so let me ask you this. Where does UT go right now at the quarterback position? That's what I played. That's the most important position in all of sports, in my opinion. Now, I know that I'm biased because I did play it for a long time, but where does that leave UT? I know they got the McIntyre kid from Nashville, but I know that I think the transfer portal is it tomorrow or pretty soon. So I'm sure they'll be looking in the transfer portal, but do they feel comfortable with what they've got at the position right now?
The portal opens up Wednesday, and I would be stunned if they did not add somebody these next couple of weeks. I do think they like George McIntyre and Jake Merklinger. I just don't think they're ready to be a starting quarterback in 2025. Those guys still have some more development that needs to take place. Merklinger, this will be his second season in the program. So if somebody or if one of the two could pull it off in terms of being the starter this fall, it would be him. And I do think that they're pleased with the steps he took the spring. And I think they liked the improvement that he made. George, there's obviously a ton of athletic ability. The potential is through the roof. His frame just is not ready to hold up as a true freshman in the SEC. So I think just from I don't know that talent standpoint is the right way to say it, but just in terms of not having somebody who's ready right now, I think they absolutely have to add somebody from the portal. And then from a numbers perspective, just having two guys, I think that would make me very, very nervous if I were a head coach going into the SEC with two quarterbacks for a season. So I think on a couple of different levels, they need to add somebody from the portal. And I think they're going to be an attractive destination for quarterbacks who could potentially enter the portal. And I'm fascinated to see how that plays out because I would expect them to add somebody, and I think they're going to be pretty good.
Have you, and I'm sure you probably haven't since this is such a fresh story, but have you heard any of the names that are coming out that they may want to go get in the transfer portal? Now, I know they obviously don't know, but because coaches talk, everybody in this business talks, and they kind of hear what's going on and who may be getting in the portal. Have you heard of any names?
There are rumors out there, but there are guys who are not in the portal yet. I think Tennessee is very much doing its due diligence. Well, we know how college athletics works, not just college football. We know that on the player side, their high school coach, their advisor, whatever it may be, parents are kind of working the back channels and talking to people for them. That way they don't get in trouble. And it obviously goes the same way for coaches at this level. They're working their connections behind the scenes. So nobody that's in the portal just yet that I would mention, but I do think that the job is going to generate a lot of interest, and I'll be curious to see if there's a productive starting quarterback at a major one of the four Power Four conferences if they end up entering the portal. Because, again, Josh Heupel's track record kind of speaks for itself. It's SEC football. The job is wide open. If you come in and you're successful after Nico, Tennessee fans are going to love you as much as you can be loved. So I think it's an attractive destination, and I would expect, assuming Tennessee does add somebody like I think they will, I think it's going to be a proven starter that's played in a Power 4 conference.
Okay, so Ben, talk about teammates. I know you've been around the program. You understand what's going on. You hear things. How were Nico's teammates feeling about all this? Because if it's me and I hear all this is going on, like, I understand the driving force, and you talked about his dad. He's obviously like, I don't understand. Like, I'm glad I played when I did, because I don't think the NCAA has a true path. I don't think anybody in college sports has a true path. Nobody knows what's going on. It's kind of like the Wild Wild West until we get it under control, and I don't know if you can. But, like, what were his teammates thinking? Because when you got a guy that is making more than anybody on the team, and now you're belly aching, and now you decide not to come to practice, or maybe you miss a couple of meetings, and then you see how he acts, and then we're saying this guy's wanting more money. How were his teammates reacting to that?
I think they were acting the way that you just described. I think they were very upset with the situation. I think there was a wide range of emotions. That they were upset, they were angry, frustrated. Not only is it a teammate that is belly aching about things when he's the highest paid player on the team, but he's the quarterback going into year 3. He's expected to step up into a leadership role, not just because he's the quarterback and going into his 3rd year, but because there was a lot of turnover within the program as well, with veterans on both sides of the football moving on. And so not only is Nico the quarterback, he's going into his junior season, but like, hey, man, we lost Cooper Mays. We lost Amari Thomas. Like, we need you from a leadership standpoint. And the whole shopping around thing kind of happened around in late December, January, at the start of the semester. It died down. And then in recent weeks, it obviously kicked back up. And I think that really rubbed teammates the wrong way, both from an individual standpoint, just kind of viewing the situation on a personal level, but then also how much it does impact the team. Because, like, on one hand, I do think that Tennessee made the right decision to move on, because he's not currently worth the price that they wanted. And the whole ordeal has been a headache since the moment the family committed. And so, yes, Tennessee's making the right decision to cut ties, to move on. But unfortunately, this is the middle of April, not the middle of January. And it puts them in between a rock and a hard place of now needing to go find a quarterback, because it does not have a quarterback on the roster who appears to be ready to start this fall. So I think the teammates view the frustrations from that standpoint as well. And just kind of every which way you looked at this situation, it puts Tennessee football in a bad spot. And I think that's disingenuous to his teammates that he has spent the last 2 years with. I'm sure there's some of them who only care about the NIL money and understand where Nico's coming from and will continue to support him. But I do know that there were a lot of teammates also upset on Friday morning as this was transpiring and fed up with the situation and ready to move on.
Ben, thank you on really short notice for doing this. Thank you as always.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great week.
Ben McKee from GoVols247.com joining us. You can read his stuff at that site. He's good. After the break, here's an interview you're going to want to hear with Watson Brown. A lot of the coaches' stuff and how coaches around the country feel as they see this. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
Flat Rock Motor Club is a members-only driving resort combining a world-class racetrack with exquisite amenities. Located on 800 acres of pristine countryside in the heart of Tennessee, their elite 3.5-mile club track is surrounded by sweeping views of manicured rolling hills. The charm of Tennessee can be felt with every hill you climb. Whether your beverage of choice is sweet tea or whiskey, at their premier driving resort, you will experience a sophisticated blend of country elegance and southern hospitality. For more information, log on to flatrockmotorclub.com.
After that interception.
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here. You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, when all this crap was going down on Friday, I knew that Watson Brown was going to get a phone call from me sometime early Saturday morning, and he did. And he was gracious enough to say, sure, I'll come on and talk to you guys. He joins us from Cookeville. Watson, thank you.
Oh, glad to, George. Say hi to everybody. Hope Kelly and Billy are doing well.
Coach?
What's up, Coach?
What's up, gentlemen?
So, Watson, in retrospect, is Josh Heupel looking in the mirror and saying, I should have called the dad in months ago and read him the riot act?
Oh, gosh, George, it's so easy to second guess. We don't know. We don't know that he didn't do that. All you can look at is what we see. And the young man, whoever did it, and I don't feel like he's the one doing the talking. There's got to be dad, agent. There's somebody else doing the talking. But when he took himself away from practice and the spring game, that pretty much did him in. You can't do that. I just flat don't understand why you can't wait 2 days. Everybody after spring ball goes in and talks, and am I leaving? Am I staying? That's protocol. That's the way it is. But to have a high-profile guy like this, not a second-string guy that takes him out of spring ball that wants to be a starter. I'm talking about a high-profile guy that just walks away from his teammates and his coaches. Don't tell him that he's going to walk away from his teammates or his coaches. I read where the quarterbacks had eaten supper together on Thursday night, and everything was good. They were cutting up, having a good time. Nico was there, and then doesn't show Friday morning. So that's the real piece here that I think just made it to where Coach Heupel had no choice whatsoever.
So you know better than any of us that coaches around the country are looking at this going, oh, wow, this is the test case for the moment. What do you think this is empowering head coaches on the D1 level to maybe do, or do you think it's empowering them at all?
I think it's empowering them in different ways. I think each coach will look at this in different ways. But I don't think I just can't imagine a coach in the country letting his locker room get away by letting a guy get away with this. I just can't see that by not showing up. That again is the piece to me. Negotiating for money, good gracious, it's going on everywhere. And I said it the other day, George. This is exactly what coaches have been doing for years. They get offers. They go in and see if they can up what they got, or they leave. A lot just leave, but there are some that go in and negotiate. Sometimes it's not them; it's the school coming to them and negotiating. That happened to me to stay, and it was an unbelievable negotiation by the school to stay. And so this has been going on. Coaches have done it. Players have every right to do it. Every right to do it. But I don't think you have a right to pull yourself out of practice right in the middle of practice or right in the middle of the season, being a high-profile guy like this and doing it that way. And it's going to be interesting to watch. Nico could be in trouble. He can't go to the SEC unless he wants to sit out a year. And I've already read 4 or 5 that have said, I have no interest in looking into this. And so if he's going to stay in the Power 4, where? It's going to be interesting to see. The one that would interest me, because it's a little personal, would be North Carolina. That would really interest me because their starter from last year broke his leg. And how healthy is he coming back? And with Belichick there now, and I do know they've got more money than they've had. They've thrown money around pretty good here in the winter and the spring. That's one I would keep my eye on to see if they don't pop in it. But this is tough. And George, how many years ago, 4 or 5, you and I hit this hard before it ever happened. And we said it'd get to this point. And there's things going on in college that you can't do in the NFL. They have free agency. The coaches there have to stick to their contracts. Players there have to stick to their contracts unless that place wants to let them go until your contract is up. And so you don't have that in college football. They've got to start working to a mirrored image of the NFL, because the NFL has trial and errored all this. They've gone through all this. Baseball started it with Curt Flood way back when, as you well know, George. And so there's been a lot of trial and error with this kind of stuff. And here college football, college athletics sit here now, and I guess they're trial and erroring. But all they got to do is look toward the NFL, and they've got to find ways legally to put some things together to me.
Watson, now that I think about it, if Tennessee's J.R. Ewing wannabes had ponied up and they said, okay, we know we're screwed if we don't. And I'll be honest, I thought they were going to do that. And they had done that. What level of mutiny was going to go on in that locker room?
Oh, I don't think it would have been good. And especially when Nico pulled what he pulled by not showing. You go back and giving money after that, you'd have mutiny in there. But it gets old. I mean, they went through a real heavy spell with him, and that's been documented to be true, that in December. And he talked about leaving and staying and whatever, and they renegotiated a little bit there. You just can't keep renegotiating to me and have a locker room. When the locker room feels like a player, and Kelly and I both can talk about this, and when a locker room feels like a player has control of the coach, especially the head coach, you got problems, man. It will not work. I've always said there's two things that a coach has to have to be a good football coach and get his players to play 100% up to their abilities. And they have to respect you. And I don't think there'd be respect if you let that go on. And they have to trust you. And those two things have got to be there from coach to player. And for them to play up to their ability emotionally, as hard, effort, all the things you got to do, those two pieces have to be there. I don't think that would be there if Tennessee had given in to this. And I feel for Nico. I don't think they should have pushed it. He had a solid year. He's making $2.4 million. And he needed to prove. He needed to come back like Hendon Hooker did and turn the solid year in the next year into something special. You're going to get $4 million, you're going to have to be special. And I just don't know that I would have done that, because now I've read where the parents have said, and somebody has said through the family, one of the reasons he thought about leaving, they got to improve the offensive line. We've got to have some better receivers. That, to me, is the last thing that should be said by a quarterback. He might go and say, we won't be able to pick up anybody, this and that. But to threaten with, that's basically saying, this isn't my fault. This is the offensive line's fault. This is the receiver's fault. That, to me, was a major red flag when I read that.
Watson, let me ask this. As I turn it over to Kelly, could we go to a break in about 5 minutes and then sneak another 6-8 minutes with you?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
And you know how much more pay you'll get.
Yeah. 0 times 0 equals
about as much
0.
as me.
Yeah, wow. You believe me, I know, Kelly, because you took over when I left, so I know what it is, buddy.
Go ahead.
So, Coach, tell me this, and I know your answer. And to me, I'm not sure. It's still got to matter. It still has to matter. But with these new age coaches, I'm just not sure anymore. But as a former coach, as a guy who played the game, who coached for a long time at a lot of places, would you want that guy as a leader right now on your team?
No, not the things I just went through, Kelly, are red flags to me. You go in and threaten that I'm going to leave if we don't get some better offensive linemen in here. Can you imagine that? I cannot imagine that as a player. And it would irritate the fool out of me as a head coach if one of my quarterbacks walked in, but not about money, just saying, I think I'm going to leave if you don't bring in some better. Good gracious. Play better yourself. Let's worry about what you do, and the rest of everything else will come along. Let's help them come along. Let's play better. Let's get rid of the ball quicker. Let's read protections better. Let's move the pocket more. But don't take shots at your players. Good gracious, that one threw it up. No, and then to walk out on a team, Kelly, to me, that did it. I don't think there was a decision after that. Even if they were going to give him the money, I would have had to back off at that point. I just couldn't have done it if I was going to end up giving him the money 2 days later.
I think that's. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
No, go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
I just think that nowadays you look at it and you look at all what's going on, and Coach Robbins talked to me. Coach Robbins told me, he said, I'm not sure that guys really care about the sport anymore. I think they just want to be recruited, and now they just want the money. So, do you have a desire to play football? I mean, dang, the kid was making $2.5 million. Is that not enough for a 20-year-old kid who 4 years ago, nobody was getting anything? You got a scholarship. Now, I'm sure some guys were getting paid, but I just don't understand where this is going, Coach. And as a coach, you have to figure out, is it all about money with this young man, or does he have a desire to get better and to play?
Yeah, great point, Kelly. 100% agree. And only Josh Heupel and his staff knows if this kid has worked hard. George and I've talked about this, that the worst problem is family and money. Those two don't go together. And a locker room is what, Kelly? Family. It's family. So here you go with family and money, and buddy, that's going to lead to problems. And I've been saying that for 5 or 6 years before all this went down. And that's basically what this is. This is family fighting and wanting more money. And that gets personal. I don't care what you say, that gets personal. So, it is a problem. And reading about the daddy, Kelly, or what I'm hearing, we don't know if it's true, that he's been the negotiator kind of with the agent and making a lot of the decisions that go down. I can think back, I bet you can too. I can think back about my daddy getting involved in something like that. Why, he'd have killed me if I'd have asked for more money or something. I mean, I can remember coming home from high school, and I had a really tough guy to play for in high school, and you did too, and Louis Thompson. And I went home one day upset about something the coach had said or made me do, and I don't want to hear it. You want me to drive you in? You can say that to your head coach, to your coach's face. I don't want to hear that. I just don't want to listen to it. Buddy, that's the last time I did that. I'll tell you that. And it's my background and my family. I just think that's dangerous when you're the one making the decisions. And I hope that Nico was part of this, Kelly. I hope he was, and that he wanted to leave, and that he wasn't told to leave. That would really bother me. I hope and pray that Nico really wanted to leave.
Watson, hang with us, if you will. We'll go to the break. We'll do a quick stat of the day, which clearly we won't get right. And then we'll come back to you for, 3 or 4 more questions, maybe one from each one of us. Thank you for your patience with this.
I'm glad to do it.
And don't forget, it'll show up in your paycheck.
I'm waiting.
Be waiting a long time.
Don't hold your breath.
This is 94.9 The Fan.
Oh, no.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators conclude their season with a 2-game homestand starting tonight at 7 against Utah. Radio pregame coverage begins tonight at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The 4th annual 615 Open, presented by Gary Force Acura and Cromwell Media alongside partner Fox 17, is coming back to Hermitage Golf Course May 29th. Join us for a day of golf, great food, and huge prizes from local businesses. All the support folds of honor. This amazing organization provides scholarships to families of fallen and disabled service members. Be part of the fun with some of your favorite radio and TV personalities, and you never know what surprise celebrity guests will hit the links with us. Registered now to play or sponsor at 615open.com.
Amber and Ian.
I feel worse for Anthony Davis, and no one's been talking about that. Luka now is more beloved than ever. He can get ejected the night before for chirping at a fan courtside. Everybody in the world's defending him because, he was only cursing out a fan. It's so disrespectful to Anthony Davis. It's so mean. I feel worse for AD. And also, I don't think AD had the glow up with the new girl.
Amber and Ian.
Aaron Rodgers at any point could have just come out. I'm retiring. I'm playing. Like, it doesn't take this long. Like, we're on a beach. Paparazzi happens, air quotes, to be there. You have taken a picture of me deep in my thoughts with my headphones that have wires. I feel like we get like a little nugget every so often when the news cycle dies down. When we stop talking about them, there's another little sprinkle.
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Talking more Nico with Watson Brown coming up. I do want to mention CBS on Sunday, yesterday, delivered the most watched final round of the Masters since 2018 as McIlroy won in a playoff to capture his first green jacket along with golf's career Grand Slam.
Wow. Good for them.
All right, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them at Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going golf today. Rory McIlroy became the first golfer from the UK to win the Masters since whom?
Kelly, it would feel like this is where you would need to earn your keep.
Yeah, come on, Mr.
No, and you know what? I watched it yesterday, and this put me on the spot, George. I'm sorry.
Where's Gary Player
UK.
from?
No, it's not. It's not Gary Player. I think he's from South Africa.
I think you're right.
God, the United Kingdom.
What about Danny Willett?
Oh, that may be it.
You know what?
Good job,
it's a better
Watson.
answer than anything we've got. Billy, make Watson feel good and show him that name.
It is
Nice, Watson. Yes.
Watson steps in here after not being on the show for 2 months, and y'all have probably gotten, what, I don't know, 5 or 6
Oh, shut
answers.
up, Billy.
Hey, Billy, we don't need to hear it.
This is.
We don't need to hear it from the peanut gallery, Hoss. Just just give us the question and move on. You're out of it.
See what I mean, Watson?
Sorry, Billy. Didn't mean to send you in the middle of all that, buddy.
That was a good pick, man. I was sitting there scrambling, and when he said it, I'm like, yes, that's it.
But by getting this, Watson Brown will receive a bonus check or a bonus in his check.
Oh, yeah. Still zero. Oh, boy.
We welcome all of you into the
mail.
We welcome all of you. It's not Federal Express, it's Pony Express. We welcome all of you officially into the 4 o'clock hour. Take 3 guesses what we're talking about from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. We asked Coach Watson Brown to stick around for a few more minutes, and then who knows where we're going, but it'll be entertaining to say the least. Watson, if by some chance Nico ends up at more of a group of 5 instead of a power 5, and it really looks like this little holdout maneuver boomeranged on him, what do you think that does in the player market?
To slow it down. I don't think that'll happen. People are crazy. Somebody will throw big bucks around to get him, and it might not take $4 million. It might take what he's making at Tennessee. As more days go by. First, I want to say these players have every right. I 100% have every right to make as much money as they can, but they got to go about it a classy way, and that's a piece of this. Second thing for Nico, to me, is he's not there yet. He had a good year, but he's got a lot more that he needs to get done to have a great year. And I think he's hurt himself here, Kelly, George, Billy, because he doesn't have spring ball now. He's going to walk in a place and get 28 practices and play a game, and with a brand new offense with complete different terminology and everything. And that's not easy. Most of these quarterbacks, these high profile ones, are going in December and getting spring ball. And I think that could be really, really tough on him that they should have thought about. That should have been major in the decision, because to me, guys, making a little more money by leaving is not what his future. There's a lot more money than that little bit of extra money he's going to make by leaving that he could make in the NFL. But to make that in the NFL, he's got to get a lot better. And Kelly will tell you, because he did it many times. I mean, going to different teams in the NFL, learning that stuff quick is not an easy thing to do. It is in practice, but when all of a sudden that fastball hits you in games, and the different reactions you got to have that you haven't reacted to yet, is a different world. So I thought when I saw that, I said, gosh, I hope he knows what he's doing. You would like to think, guys, that he already had a place to go when he did this. I just can't imagine you coming out with nothing there. That would be a shock to me. But through this whole thing's been a shock to me. On Friday, when I found out that he didn't show to practice, that was a major shock to me.
Kelly, go one question, and then we may have to vote on it. We may give Billy a couple of questions.
Oh, I got two, George. Can I get two or just one? You just want me to get one?
Go two.
Go for it, Kelly.
Okay, so you talking about Nico. I wasn't, and he's got a long way to go, Coach. Like, you found out in the Ohio State game that the dude's tough. I mean, we get it. He's tough because he was getting hit pretty good, and he kept coming back. But he wasn't overly impressive throwing the football to me, and you've kind of talked about that. And I think he's gotten himself into a situation, and maybe it was his dad, maybe it was his handlers, which that bothers me when people say handlers. Like, I don't understand it. I know we're in a different deal, but like he wasn't overly impressive. So, I mean, this could be like, I'm sure somebody will step up to the plate and give him some money, but like he's got to get a lot better before he starts thinking about this and that and then going to the NFL with throwing the football and being consistent with his accuracy.
Absolutely, Kelly. What I saw, the biggest problem I saw that really didn't get a lot better throughout the year was, and you and I've talked this many times in fundamentals, is he's holding the ball too long. He holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't have the quick twitch, as I like to call it, that comes from it also comes from having athletic ability, and he does have a quick release. But you got to know what you're doing really, really well to have the quick twitch, as I like to say, and it's gone out of your hand in 2.5 or less. And I just thought, especially in the drop back game, he just would hold the ball too long, and that's part of those sacks, I thought. And it was also part, Kelly, 1 second, 1/2 a second can also keep you from getting knocked down. If you get rid of the ball quicker to where you get a chance to flinch a little bit and you're not getting knocked down as you're letting it go, that can also be on you. And just getting rid of the ball quicker and getting to that check down quicker, or the timing on that square end where you let that ball go in that area and he's not to it yet. And all the little things, the seam running vertical, you let it go before he's to it yet. And just things that I thought in his drop back game that still had to be fixed. And I thought it could be. I know he's loaded with talent. I know he's competitive as he can be, and I know he's tougher than nails. That's some pretty good qualities right there. And so I feel for him that he didn't get that done. I don't know if he'd gotten better in spring ball with it or not, but now he's got to go in and learn a new system, which I think, Kelly, will slow him back down again till he learns the system good.
Yeah, I'm with you. So my last deal here is, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, when the collective bargaining agreement came with the NFL, with all these professional teams, it was trial by error. And they had to make mistakes and learn what worked, what didn't work. The NCAA is at some point going to have to do that. But, you know, last year we heard it was $22 million. They were going to put a cap on it. Now they got this judge out in California that's talking about $20.5 million. So my question to you is, that's going to present a whole nother problem there, because if you give $20.5 million to a university, well, I don't know if they'll stick with it, but like if you give $20.5 million to a university for a salary cap for all your sports, then you got Josh Heupel wanting his, you got Rick Barnes wanting some, you got Tony Vitello, and where does it go from there?
The bottom line, I think, Kelly, won't be a general amount that's split between all of us. I think there's going to end up being revenue sharing football, basketball. They're going to get an amount that they're given just for football. and the university can go that high or they don't have to go that high. They do whatever they want to do. I think the bottom line, that's what it'll end up being. This revenue sharing thing, Kelly, is another piece now that's going to throw a lot of things new out there, and that they get a certain percentage of what they bring in through the athletic department. It's amazing to me, and anytime Congress gets involved, it's usually not good. And anytime things end up in the courtroom, they're not good, because I don't think common sense comes out of those two. They haven't played the sport. They haven't dealt with the sport. They don't know what all goes in every day to this stuff. And making decisions when you don't know the ins and outs of what you're talking about is dangerous to me. And that's a little bit what I think has led to all these problems.
Coach, appreciate the time. Put yourself in Josh Heupel's shoes. Nico leaves, and we've talked about it. The two guys that are there, Merklinger and McIntyre, are probably not going to be playing much quarterback this year. When you look at the guy you would want, if you're Coach Heupel, what are you looking for in your next quarterback as you go into the portal here?
A winner. I want a winner. I want somebody to walk in the door and take over that locker room and win. And I don't care if he's 6'6" or he's 6'1". I don't care. I want a winner. I want somebody to come in here and take a team that's a little disarray right now because their quarterback just walked out on them. And there's a lot more that needs to come in with this next guy, to me, Billy. And athletic ability is one piece of it, but one just a piece. There's a lot of pieces, and I want a tough winner that can come in here that's confident and not arrogant and fit in and be proud to put a T on his helmet. That's what scares me. That's what scares me about athletes. Are they really proud to be where they are? I promise you, Kelly was proud to have a MT on the side of his helmet. I was proud to have a B on the side of my helmet. Do these kids feel that now? Are they there because of money? And that bothers me. That really bothers me. If we're heading in that direction, we're in trouble. I wouldn't say that he's give up on these two young ones. I don't know that I'd go there just yet. He may really like one of them and think he can just, now that he can get all the reps, that he might develop him and be a pretty good player. I mean, Nico had one game when he started this year, and they won 10 games. He had one game under his belt. He got to play in the bowl game, basically. And he wasn't the one that got him the 10 wins. That defense and that running back and that offensive line blocking for that running back is what got those 10 wins. And with Nico's help and receivers helping everything. But Tennessee had a lot of really good pieces last year. So I think he'll hunt, but I'm not sure I would just say he's not going to play with one of these guys.
Well, we heard about Dan Lanning, calling in Coach Heupel and saying, "Hey, here's what his dad and his handler are doing." I mean, they're shopping him here out west, and I guess that hasn't been proven to be true, but we've talked to enough people to say that that's what happened. How much power do the coaches have? We talk about fixing this landscape. Can the coaches themselves, because that was a favor Lanning did for Josh Heupel, can the coaches themselves start to fix this thing? I know that the court has to come into play a little bit, but if every coach acted like Lanning there, I mean, is this landscape not a little bit better?
The problem is they won't. Lanning didn't want the young man. Right. If somebody wanted the young man, that phone call wouldn't have been made. It just wouldn't have been made. And that was great he did that. I hope other coaches saw it, and when they start getting these calls. But the thing that bothers me the most, guys, is there's got to be heavy cheating going on here. You have got to be talking to somebody, somebody, about this kid before he comes into the transfer portal. They're not just waiting to see a name and then all of a sudden start looking into it. That's not the way this is being done, and that's supposed to be illegal. But you've got people that are not even, I mean, you got all these kids got agents now, and these agents can talk to the agent from somewhere in the other school and get it to the head coach without the head coach even being involved in this. So it's such a disaster in that way. Coaches have got to throw their pieces into this, but they're not going to be the ones to get to make the decisions. I was in those meetings, and I can remember vividly we'd be in our head coaches meetings and all of us in there and saying this and saying that. Then we'd get with our athletic directors, and most everything we'd talk about didn't go past there. And then the athletic director gets with the president. And then I was an athletic director, and I was in those athletic director meetings. And if there's one thing I'd say is those athletic directors weren't listening to their coaches enough, in my personal opinion. And I do blame part of this on athletic directors. And they need to get more involved and listen to the coaches and get everything down on paper. This here, this here, this here. We got to discuss this, and get involved. And don't just worry about where the money's coming from, but seriously get involved in this. I'd love to see more athletic directors speaking out. I'm not hearing enough of them doing it.
You are so right. And this has been awesome. And I thank you. Let me know, because sometimes the mail can be slow. Let me know when you get the check.
Okay. Maybe in my next life when I should let you know, but I'll let you know.
From high above, let me know.
It won't be from the United States Postal Service. Coach, it won't be from the United States Postal Service. This one will be coming from Pony Express back in the day.
This will be coming from some express that'll be a donkey, probably.
Absolutely.
It'll be a donkey that'll be making its way up Interstate 40. That's about right.
Watson, thank you as always.
Guys, it's total honor. I always enjoy it. Thanks.
He's a good one. He's Coach Watson Brown. So, Kelly, I want to throw something out there before we go to the break, because I guess I am going to look for some phone calls. We've kind of rescheduled Kerry Keating, and I'm going to also read a few of the Facebook messages that I got.
Yeah.
Because they are pretty steamy. So when I got off the air at 5:00 Friday, I will just level with you. I was pissed off. I got to thinking, first of all, understand I don't have a dog in the University of Tennessee hunt. I'm a former Vandy announcer. Most of you know that. So I don't have a particular dog in the hunt here. But I really was pissed off, and I'll admit I was, because I thought back to when I was 19, 20 years old, and this is apples to oranges, but I was what I hoped was an aspiring young broadcaster, making $3.60 an hour at old WKDA, which was an AM signal that went from here to the TV over here. It was not a great signal. But, you know, it got me a job. It got me started. And then as I got in the car, I started thinking about Nico's bank account, which should have somewhere in the $2 to $4 million range in it. And it got me tremendously pissed off that that's not good enough for his dad. That's not good enough for him. It's not good enough for these scumbag handlers. And I'm like, can anybody stop for a minute and see how bad this scenario is? How bad we have lost our way, that some kid who's a decent quarterback could be a really good one someday, but not quite there yet. That $2.4 million wasn't good enough. That hacked me off.
I'm with you, George. I don't understand it. And that's why I keep asking these questions to everybody, because at some point the consumer is going to get tired of all this. They're going to get tired. Like, they've taken amateurism out of college football and made it professional. Like, it's the NFL now. It's really the NFL. And Watson even said it. They're going to have to figure out this collective bargaining deal. and they're going to have to figure out this salary cap. Here's another thing that he just brought up too, is all these handlers, which are agents. There's nothing that they have no limitations on what they can do. They're charging kids 10 to 20%. So if they're getting the kid more money, like my agent got 3%.
Right.
Or maybe even 2%. I don't even remember. But they, like, the collective bargaining agreement came and said, hey, agents can only make this. They can't make above this. Well, now you've got all these handlers making 10, 15, 20% off these kids. So that's why he got into a bad situation, maybe with his dad, but with these handlers, and they're trying to get paid more money. And there's no restrictions on anything that these agents can do with these college kids. So something has got to be done with that as well.
Okay, we'll open up the phones. I'm assuming some of you are going to want to react. Phone number is 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. In between, I'll read some of the comments that I've gotten because, man, it was eye-opening, to say the least. We're back in about 3 minutes. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators conclude their season with a 2-game homestand starting tonight at 7 against Utah. Radio pregame coverage begins tonight at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Thanks to Stevie Nicks for making a public appearance today on the show. Quick change in what we're doing. We're going to go totally to phones. Y'all have about blown the switchboard out, which is
nice.
awesome.
I like
Thank you. And tomorrow we'll get into all the Facebook stuff that I've gotten because, man, there's a bunch of it. Let's start in Bellevue. Bobby, welcome into 94.9 The Fan.
George, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
The Braves are 4-11.
Yes, I'm well aware of that.
Just want to make sure. Okay, first, they're tampering, and Kelly took a little bit of what I was going to say. You remember the Dolphins lost a 5th or 4th round pick a couple of years ago because they were reaching out to people before it opened up. And they lost a pick in last year or the year before. They should lose scholarships if they have people doing this. There's no law. They're cheating. He's got his dad or agent reaching out when the window hadn't opened, and no one's punished. Someone should be punished, whether it's the player or the school. And if a school's reaching out, they should lose scholarships. And if this person's losing out, they should lose playing time. It's not right. It's not fair. And it's the greed of the colleges and other people that just for so long let everything go. And that's why we're out. There needs to be a law at this, and no one's done anything about it.
First of all, Bobby, when we get through with the phone call, you get with 10,000 of your closest friends and let them know we're out there.
Well, George, you and I both know I don't have 10,000 friends, and neither do you.
You got that right. First of all, Kelly, this tampering thing is a complete joke because 98% of schools are doing it. It is rampant. If you started penalizing right now, you wouldn't have anybody that's not on probation.
I agree with Bobby, though. I think there should be consequences, but here's the deal, Bobby. Everybody's going to find a way around it, and they're going to find somebody on their team that knows the kid you're looking for, and they're going to have him, hey, maybe text him and maybe call him on the down low. There's always ways around things, but I'm in firm agreement with you because I think there needs to be, if you're caught and if Dan Lanning calls and tells you, and it's obvious what had happened, there needs to be an investigation, and then something needs to happen. There needs to be some consequences because if they're not, I mean, it's the Wild Wild West now. It's just going to keep going.
Yeah, but the problem is the NCAA is running this thing. And, it's not going to change until college football goes on its own. And they have a commissioner for college football. I know we've said that, but like you said, there's always ways around it, especially under the NCAA's umbrella, as long as they're running this thing.
By the way, there is a congressman, I think it's a congressman, and it's not anywhere near here, who has brought a piece of legislation to the table to get rid of the NCAA. And I'm going to try in the next couple of weeks to have this guy on and see where he's coming from. So bear with me on that. As we go to Tony in Nolensville, Tony, welcome.
Hello, George, Billy, and Kelly, and obviously a hot topic. So a couple of things I'm going to say real quick. What I understand of the Nico deal, George, Kelly, supposedly I heard he was going to get the $4 million, but when he asked for a George Plaster bowling shirt and they couldn't come up with it, Heifel, that was the deal breaker.
Listen, those shirts are very valuable.
Guys, we talked about it. George, you and I talked about it the other day. Me and Watson, and you talked about it a week ago. It was going to get crazy like this, and it is getting crazier. This animal creature has got legs, and it keeps growing them. It's greed chasing greed. Let's not forget, in the UT case, UT went out and made him. And George, I put this in your Facebook, and I talk about it now. They made him a $2 million quarterback. They were the first ones to really go out and sign, in essence, a top first-round lottery pick draft choice. And they paid him the $2 million, 2.4, and now he's the first, ironically, the first player in essence that's going to be a holdout through all this. And it's unbelievable, the hamster wheel that we're on, and that's where it's at. And I do applaud Tennessee for saying, you hadn't brought us a crown, you hadn't brought us no championship, you played mediocre in a lot of big games, and, we're not going to go to $4 million. If you can find it from somebody else out there, go do it. I do applaud Heupel and UT on that, but at the same time, UT was the ones who went out and started paying him 2 to 3 years ago with this, that created their own internal monster here. And I think Watson is incorrect. Y'all help me on this. I think Watson's incorrect when he said he couldn't transfer within the conference. We just saw a player from Vanderbilt go to UT. Kerry.
He can't because
you can transfer anywhere you want to right now.
Because this is the spring window, he can't transfer to another SEC.
Is that the clause?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a clause I did not know. I think that's a clause a lot of people did not know.
Yeah, that's to de-incentivize players from transferring in this spring window because you have a lot more.
Well, thank y'all for enlightening me on that. I did not know that.
Absolutely.
Because we've seen players all over his conference in all sports transferring to other schools within the conference. So there is that glitch or cliche or whatever you want to call it, rule that stops that. So I did not know that. Thank you. And one last thing, I will touch on Rory. What a tremendous accomplishment. He had a piano on his back. He's been carrying it around for several years now. And what an ambassador for the game. I'll always admire him for not taking the blood money of Liv Goff, the Saudi Arabia money, and holding true to his values and principles and staying with the PGA, becoming the face of PGA. And I'll always honor him for that and recognize him for that. And what a great accomplishment. And guys, George, this is only – now you and I are old enough to know when Nicholas and I believe Palmer did it, or Nicholas done it and somebody else back in the 60s, but you and I were kids. In essence, this is only the second time we have really seen a Grand Slam champion in golf with Tiger that we could, bring to recollection of our own mindset. So anyway, guys, I want to touch on that. Thank you as always, and let y'all talk about it more and take some more calls. See ya.
Okay. We got a bunch of them. Kenny the mailman, you are up next.
George, I'm always listening. Did you blame Watson Brown not getting a check on the slowness of the Postal Service? You got to write it before I can deliver it, brother.
That's really a good point. And it's also accurate.
I hate
going to write it, Kenny.
We've caught George using top value stamps and Christmas seals instead of regular stamps. So
that is
keep
not
an eye
true.
on it.
That
He's
is
not even going to write the check for Watson. That's the bad thing, Kenny.
That's
Sorry.
not true.
Listen, I got a question. It's come from a different angle aspect. I'd like to talk about the reporting of an issue that a lot of people don't want to hear. George, you've had to do that 2 or 3 times. The outlet that reported this, they were called fake news, you're lying, you're just trying to stir trouble up. Talk about vindication like that, because I remember, gosh, has it been about 30 years ago, George? You came on one night and said, I have it on good authority, Kevin O'Neill does not want to be at UT after the year. And you were called every name in the book, and I think you couldn't tell people, but I think you one time told me Kevin O'Neill told you that.
He did tell me.
Talk about, it's like something's true, but everybody's calling you a liar. Hey, y'all have a great day.
It's a little bit of the tough side of this business every once in a while that hopefully you earn after a long time, a level of trust that if you do say something that you're not just plucking it out of your rear end, but Kelly, it happens at times.
Yeah, you can't be like Billy and put out false information like he normally does. You know what I'm saying? He just goes with it.
Hey,
you got to have something to back it up.
I remember asking George about this. I don't know when but I was like, I've got something. How do I say this? Like, it's hard when you've got, you don't want to burn who you have, but you've got something big. You got to frame it right. It's hard to do.
There's also certain stories, in particular, rape situations, allegations of those kind of things where you had better be careful or you're the one that's going to get sued. I know we got to go to the break. I want to ask Eric and Clay, Eric number 2 and Jeff in Murfreesboro. Hang with us. I'm going to try to get to all of you on a busy Monday afternoon. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
You're
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Let's get right to it. A lot of you have things on your mind. Let's start with Eric. Turns out to be line 4. Eric, welcome.
George, is this me?
It is.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure. I didn't know if it was me or the other. Hey, George, a couple of things, George, and of course it's been brought up, and I heard it earlier today, you heard too, of course, the fact that Tennessee basically, with them and Virginia suing the NCAA, kind of went to the mat for him because he was that test case with the whole NIL stuff, and, it's just wild how everything now has played out. And I'm also going to ask you this. Had you heard about, apparently, and I heard this on another station, and I didn't know if you knew this, there was a clip, I guess it's from Fox Sports Radio, national feed, it was either Saturday or Sunday, where they were talking about this. It was TJ Hushmanzada with LeVar Arrington, and he basically said that he was real close to the family, with Nico and the family, and he said that he thought that there was just a lot of misinformation that was going out there, and he basically said that Tennessee was liars. I didn't know if you had heard that, but that was a clip I had heard on another show. I don't know if he went into specifics or whatever. It's just going to be interesting to see if all that comes out, but if you had heard that.
I had not heard that. I will say that the dad kind of went off when the thing first got out there, and said, this is not about money.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it was about money. Now, was I in the negotiating room? Of course not. But, I mean, what are you supposed to think?
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting because, of course, Kenny was talking about actual reporting. Apparently, when I heard the story first broke, the guy that broke the story got raked over the coals, but now it turns out he was telling the truth. So, and lastly, George, it's going to be interesting to see. You talk about, and everybody's talking about, well, the coaches are at fault, players are at fault, athletic directors and all that type of stuff agreed. But a lot of people have said that, and I don't know if they're ever going to be able to do anything about this, because you talk about maybe getting rid of the NCAA, but a lot of people think that they're at fault for the fact that they just have not put any guardrails in place to prevent something else from happening. And I don't know realistically if you can do that. Maybe Nico will wind up playing somewhere else, like I've heard the rumors too, like UCLA or Tulane or North Carolina, but it's just going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, because it's unfortunate, whether you like it or not, we're living in the times where now it's like you're a mercenary for hire and you're going to the highest bidder. So it's just going to be see how this shakes out. George, I'll get off, let you get some other callers. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. And I guess deep down, all of us are in our professional lives, but at 19, 20 years old, this seems too early, among other things.
Well, but it's happening at every school across the country right now, George. It truly is. And coaches have no clue. Administration has no clue. The NCAA doesn't have a clue. And hopefully at some point cooler heads prevail, but there's a lot of things that's got to get done. A lot of it, just like Watson said, is trial by error. But if they're going to go down this road, they're going to have a collective bargaining agreement somewhere where things are going to be equal. And I don't know where it's coming, and I don't know how many years that's going to take, but eventually you got to get to that point if you're going to make this work.
Clay is up next. Clay, welcome into 94.9 The Fan.
George, thanks for taking my call. It is a busy day. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Billy. Anyway, I think you guys know, I'm just going to touch on, something, and then I've got kind of a story, really, George, about the Masters and something that I experienced last night that means a lot to me.
you guys know that probably my take on the on this money stuff with, college athletics and things like that, especially not only because of, Jalen Carey leaving, but where he's going. I'll admit that because, I'm a proud Vanderbilt fan and Tennessee is our rival. So, but anyway, I want to move on to this. Do you remember, George, when you were at BGA and my mother was the alumni director? And you do?
I remember her first name, Connie.
Correct. So Rory McIlroy wins the Masters yesterday, and he completes the career Grand Slam. That's a huge deal. He's the sixth person to do it. My mother is going to be 98 years old, George, on May the 11th. And I'm really fortunate to still have her. I'm very thankful for that. And I go see her a lot. She's in a senior living place and doing well in Burton Hills area of Green Hills. But we watched, they have a thing on the putting green after the Butler Cabin thing, and Rory does another speech. And then we watched his press conference. And my mother was very happy because she just really likes Rory McIlroy, the player. And my hope is maybe something like that could add a little time to her life. You never know when someone is that age, how much longer you have with them. And so that was just a really, nice experience for me with my mother. I'm just very appreciative, to still have her, and I wanted to share that. Appreciate you letting me share that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And you tell her we said hello and happy 98.
Thank you.
Okay. Billy found the TJ Hushmanzada. You got to buy a vowel to get that right, to spell it. His comments about this. Let's listen.
Reports had surfaced that he had not shown up to practices, and that Nico had ultimately opened up negotiations in terms of what it was going to cost for him to play for Tennessee.
And that's false.
Okay.
They're lying. Tennessee's lying. And they probably like, damn, hope nobody comes up and disputes this. But they're lying.
All right.
And I know this is fact, not as
well, we know you know him. We know you know him, know the family or whatever. So go ahead, let us know.
My thing is this, right? So ask Tennessee, when's the last time they spoke to anybody on Nico's side? Well, I'll answer that for you. January. So what are y'all negotiating? When was the negotiations taking place? When the last time y'all spoke to anybody on his side, it was in January. And here we are in April. So negotiations starting in January. There's been no more communication since then. Like, come on. And so is the reason about money, or is the reason about the system that you have offensively? You can't say that, huh, Josh Heupel? You don't want to talk about your offensive system and what you told him and what you were going to do, and you tried to call his bluff. I just don't like how they want to put these kids and paint them in a bad light. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you're not going to do it, just be upfront so everybody can make a decision that is best for them. But when the player makes a decision that is best for him, now you want to lie and put out false narratives about the reason.
So you're saying it's about the offensive scheme. It's not about the money.
He going to get the money regardless. Whether he stayed at Tennessee or he hits the portal, he getting a lot of money regardless.
But the reports, if I'm just giving you the things to feed back off of or to respond to, the reports is that he was negotiating what that money would be at Tennessee, which in the NIL era, in the NIL space, sometimes that is something that takes place and at these different schools with the different players. I mean, we've seen that with the other who were the kids that played for, Florida State and played for.
I mean, you look at every sport, women's basketball, men's football.
There's negotiations going on.
That's what it is. And it's a great, LeVar, I love it.
That's pretty much
wow
it. But interesting stuff.
Two
Obviously,
sides to every story.
Yeah.
That's what you have to think. And who knows? He may be tight with who knows? I don't know that, but it'd be interesting to see, man. And another thing I was thinking about is, just kind of alluding to what, TJ Houshmandzadeh was talking about. Like, maybe this is a deal where they didn't think that he could show his true deal with the offensive line, with guys graduating, with the receiving core that they've got. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and hopefully they'll get answered one day.
I got a laugh. Somebody on Twitter in response to this video said, "Did the system have Nico run out of bounds as the time expired in the fourth quarter at Arkansas?"
Wow, that's cold. That's
That is
cold-blooded. Okay, Eric, number 2 in Nashville, is up next. Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here, George. You know I wouldn't hang up on you. You've been too good to me for me to do that.
Thank you.
But anyway, I just want to throw in my 2 cents worth on this Nico deal. The UT fan in me is like, well, first of all, let me just say, I think Heupel handled it in the best way that he could have. When he said that nobody is above the T, including me, what that shows me is he's putting the team ahead of himself and all others, and I appreciate his dignity. He handled it in the best way that anybody could have. He really did. And second of all, I mean, it's bad enough that Nico wanted a pay raise, period. I understand money has to be had every once in a while. But when the story popped out today, now I don't know if there's any truth to this, but when the story popped out today that he was apparently already trying to negotiate money before the playoff game against Ohio State last year, what that tells me is, I mean, I like Nico for what he did, but what that tells me is if he's more concerned about money than winning a championship, then it's better that we moved on anyway. And whatever quarterback we have out there next year can win and get us to the championship. I just want to throw that part in. I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Here's the last thing on this one before we take a last phone call. Everybody right now is applauding Tennessee. What happens if they don't get the level quarterback they need, and because of that, they go 6-6? You'll see some people turn and get a little phony about it.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be wanting Josh Heupel's head, too. You can believe that.
This is important next.
It's a dangerous business.
Next few months for Heupel.
Jeff in Murfreesboro, final call of the day. Welcome.
How's it going, George? I just want to say Tennessee had the money to pay this guy because their AD, the big man he is, was going to raise ticket prices at Tennessee in all their sports, football, basketball, probably baseball and softball, and part of it was going to go to their NIL. So, I mean, I mean, you can applaud Heupel, that's fine as far as what he's done with the stuff. But like somebody else said, they gave him $2.5 million at first. And also, George, when they were going to the Sweet 16 in basketball, they put this stuff out. You know, we're the first school to go to the college football playoff and the women's and men's Sweet 16 and the NCAA tournament. Well, how'd that work out for them? Ohio State beat that rear end, and Texas beat that rear end in women's basketball, and Houston beat it in the Final 8. So there's still no foul. They beat Kentucky in the Sweet 16 and jumped up and down, had a fit like they did a few years ago in Nashville when they won the semifinals. It's grand. I learned how to fall down Williams and Admiral Schofield, or sorry, whatever Sergeant Schofield call him. And then they didn't know Bruce Pearl was coming the next day to beat their rear ends. Okay? So, I mean, you know, I guess I think McIntyre will be a good quarterback for him. But like you say, if they win 6 or 7 next year, it'll be on the Heupel and White and the rest of them to see what could happen. Because like I say, it will turn because Tennessee fans turn anyway. That every time they lose, they complain about something. It's the referees, or when they lost to Purdue a couple years ago, it's Shrek. We can't guard him. It's always something when they lose that we can't do this, that, and the other. So you can have Rick Barnes all you want to, George. You think he's a great coach. Why is it that when he tries to get in the final, the Hall of Fame twice, he hadn't made it yet? Why is that? Because he's not good enough. That's why, period. You know it, and I know it. Okay.
No, don't put words in don't put words in my mouth, Jeff.
Period. Okay, and you want to see him do well.
Do not put words in my mouth.
Two famous birthdays today in baseball players: Pete Rose and Greg Maddux. Have a good one, George.
Rest well. Under the category of is Barnes a Hall of Fame coach? I don't know. You'll have different people think different things about it. However, I'm very capable of my own opinions, and I don't need Jeff speaking for me. And there are times I don't need Jeff speaking for anybody. We'll go to the break on that. This is 94.9, The Fan.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators conclude their season with a 2-game homestand starting tonight at 7 against Utah. Radio pregame coverage begins tonight at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. This is Joe and Q.
It's always something involving Tyreek Hill. And this is something that I learned early in my life. I believe my mama said it to me one day when I got in trouble at school, right? I said, Mom, it wasn't my fault. It was the kids around me. She said, okay. The next time the school called, what happened? Well, the teacher doesn't like me. That's twice. After the third or fourth time, Q, it's no longer them. It is on you.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Earlier on Clinton and Friends.
The West is a crapshoot. I love this for the NBA. The idea that the Western Conference, which in many people's eyes is the better, more talented conference, has no real, true identifier as to who's better. I mean, you can say the Thunder, obviously, because they're a million miles ahead in terms of regular season games. But with that lack of experience, who knows what's going to happen?
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Monday. What we got tonight, George? Braves?
You're talking about as far as my bet?
Well, just potential action.
Well,
there's
okay. We've got
Braves are in
no
Toronto.
NBA. The play-in games start tomorrow, and even though I thought it was a dumb idea at the beginning, the play-in games have turned out to be terrific because they're the closest thing to college one and done. Yeah. Still got some hockey. Preds are home tonight against Utah, club, which needs a nickname. So are we not reviewing what happened? Because, I have won 3 in a row, and I think now we do need to review.
Got to win with the Padres on Friday night.
Yeah.
So 66-70.
We're getting back there. Kelly, I know you're excited for me.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, I can tell.
Thrilled.
So here's tonight's winner, Kelly. We're going with Terry McCormick's Yankees. How about that?
I cannot believe this.
I need a
rooting
win
for the Yankees.
No, I didn't say I was rooting for them. I said that's what we're going with.
You are tonight.
Well, you're going to root for them tonight.
Either way, I win. If they lose,
that's a great way to put it right there. Either way, you can't lose on this one.
Okay, tomorrow on the show, Tony Basilio is going to join us from Knoxville, and my guess is he'll have some interesting takes on the last 3 or 4 days that maybe none of us have heard because he's really wired to that stuff. And then we're going to empty out my Facebook comments. When I asked for comments, it's close to 140 of you that took the time to spill your guts. So we got a lot to get into. Thanks to all of the calls today for being a part of it. That always makes it fun. Kelly, until tomorrow, try to behave.
Always. I'm always behaving, George.
And Billy, on your end, clean up your attitude about stat of the day, because
Hey,
if the
Billy,
roles are reversed,
And
I'm
Billy,
not-
change your picture on your Venmo, please. Nobody wants to see that.
I have needed to change that.
okay,
Please.
we're done. We're done. Let the hostilities continue to flow. We'll see you tomorrow on 94.9 The Fan.